Okay, this is my DLC review. I'm not going to spend too much long here. Yes, arrange that to make a sentence. Operation Anchorage. This isn't so much a story as an excuse to go on an action-packed rampage against the Chinese in a nice, snowy Alaskan locale. It wasn't very elegantly shoved into the story, and I have no idea why Bethesda insists on making characters and quest givers as odious as possible. In fact, by making them such jerks, it almost opens up plot holes with regards as to why your character would even go along with this. I guess loot is worth delving into the unknown and risking your life over. As a side adventure in the Game of the Year edition, this is good fun. As a standalone DLC, I can't imagine it being worth the price of admission. The Pit. The Pit is very short, with most of the game's bulk lying with the Steel Yard and the optional challenge to collect all 100 ingots. As for the story itself, you have a more realistic reason for getting into it this time. Saving slaves is probably something your character would put themselves in a vulnerable position for, unless they were an evil karma character, in which case, I don't know. The story is relentlessly dark and ends up having no right or wrong answer. Though, with the power of spoilers, I consider aiding Asher to be the correct choice, as Werner turns out to be every bit as crooked, which sort of invalidates the whole choice anyway. A grim story is fine every now and then, but when both outcomes are grisly, it's hard to become too emotionally invested in the choice. Again, a fine side adventure, but not worth the price of admission as a full DLC. Broken Steel. By far the best DLC of the lot. Broken Steel added not only a decent new main quest line, but also a smattering of well-developed side quests, a raised cap level cap even, new enemies, etc., etc. It does well to add closure to the previously pathetic ending, and shows that life in the wasteland continues to be a struggle rather than the Purifier being a happily ever after switch, which is a more satisfying conclusion. The main quest doesn't have much in the way of story, but storming the Enclave base is an undeniably epic and exciting way for the adventure to end, as opposed to pushing a button, which is kind of how it ended anyway. But semantics. Would have been worth the price of admission as a DLC. Point Lookout. Point Lookout is an interesting and very creepy new locale. Again, getting there is fairly realistic, the promise of adventure. But they also stick a Find My Daughter on there as an extra incentive. There is a resolution to that, which I didn't film, by the way. Tobar the Ferryman is the one that cuts your head open. Apparently he gets paid to do this by the tribals, which is probably why he made such an enthusiastic sell of the place when you meet him. Point Lookout has several interesting side quests. One in particular involves a book of dark magic that is definitely totally not the Necronomicon. We promise. Please don't sue us. And in general, the whole place is a very creepy Lovecraft homage. Its big weakness, however, is the actual main quest line. Yet again, our character is taking orders from a total jerkwad, only with the twist ending being, well, not twist ending, just the twist middle, being that we have the choice to align with a different jerkwad halfway through. But there's no incentive either way, because, as suggested, they're jerkwads, and the game teases this 200-year-old rivalry between them, something about stolen research, psychic control, etc., but we never get any details on this, and ultimately never learn anything about these characters, making the whole thing a waste of time. The tribals were kind of iffy too. Granted, the fact that the first few I saw were dark-skinned people with war paint probably made it look a lot more racist than it actually ended up being, and in the end it wasn't a stereotypical tribe as sorts. It was more of a clueless religious cult, something Bethesda seems to like doing, what with the Church of the Atom, the druids who tend to herald in the vanilla side quest about the Oasis. I'm probably being a bit too touchy, but I have to wonder if there's not some sort of nasty intent to the fact that Bethesda paints all religious characters in their games as delusionals who constantly misinterpret plain, simple instructions from non-deities. It's quite trendy to suggest that religious people are idiots these days, and it's quite unnecessary. For that matter, what happened to real-world religions like Christianity, Judaism and Hinduism, Buddhism, all the others? I don't have a list of every religion on me, paganism, where did all these go? Did the nuclear war just obliterate all old religious texts? Anyway, worth the price of admission for the new locale and side quests, even if the main quest is a stinker. Mothership Zeta. What's to say? You get abducted by aliens. You lead a ragtag bunch of misfits who sit at various points on the annoying scale. Namely, all of the characters sit on the non-annoying end except for that Anchorage medic guy, Elliot I think his name was, who is right on the rage-inducing edge. You fight your way through the ship, learn little to nothing about what the aliens actually do or want, and win the day in a rather novel set piece, then go home. Decent side attraction, not worth standalone DLC price. Bam!